Okay, good afternoon. Update here for you on the injuries. Following players will not practice: Dawson Knox, Dwan Smoot, and Daquan Jones. Daquan is on a vet rest day, and he's got a little bit of a foot. Dawson's dealing with an ankle, and Smoot has a groin. He is excused today for personal reasons, but he is also dealing with the injury still. So he won't be here today. So will not practice.
Go ahead, Matt. You talked on Monday about Bernard wanting to get a little bit more into the evaluation process. What came back on that, and do you feel like that's kind of like a day-to-day thing, week-to-week thing?
Probably more of a day-to-day at this point. Yeah.
John, this offensive line, Seattle, a little bit young, been inconsistent. How important for your D-line you always talk about it, but how important in a game like this they need to kind of take control of it?
Yeah, true every week, Sal. Every week it's a must. That's how the game is. That's where the game is won every week, up front and defensive line, offensive line. Being great with our technique, being great with the strain. You talk about their defensive line. They've got some guys that can flat out rush the passer, and very impressed by the tape.
I guess it doesn't really matter who starts on the D-line, but AJ has come off the bench the last couple of days. I know it's a rotation, but what have you liked from AJ? It seems like it's maybe a little fire on him. I don't know. He's played better the last couple of days.
Yeah, again, you're always trying to find the right rhythm. I think he's handled it well. Getting players in the right seats. Whether as far as our defensive line goes, we start as many as we can start, right? So just because of the rotation that we have, so even though you're coming off the bench, so to speak, you're really a starter in the way we play our defensive line.
Sean, I think in the past you had the luxury of breaking in rookies because of the experience depth that you had. What do you make of knowing you entered a season in which getting impact from rookie players was going to be important, and just the impact that Coleman and Carter and Ray Davis, to be specific, have made to this team so far?
Yeah, it's been important for us. We knew that going into the season that it was going to take some time, and it's still a work in progress in a lot of areas. There's always something to work on with your team, right? Whether it's young guys, older guys, whatever, coaches included. So with the young guys in this case, I think they've contributed very well in this short season to this point. Will their experience pay off? I got to believe it will. That's also true of the guys who have played, for some of the guys who have been banged up. So it's been good. I think that holistically it's been good for us, been good for them, and they're getting more and more comfortable in these roles.
How much have you seen, where you mentioned kind of cram in so much last week, have you seen that carry over just the early few days of this week as he's continuing to really grind and to get up to speed as fast as he can?
I imagine so, but I'd be lying if I said I've been as close with him this week, even if I wasn't even really that, close up to him last week, just because of how quick the week was. This week, I know he's still working for sure. I just, it's kind of normal operating procedure, right? Just getting yourself up to speed, trying to improve off of week one. Just same thing for us as a team. It's just trying to get better every week.
Sean, I apologize. Couldn't hear back here. Did you say Curtis Samuel was practicing today?
No, he's out today.
Out today.
Yeah.
Josh has had an impressive stretch without interceptions, even going back to the playoffs last year. We've talked to him and Joe Brady just about what they're seeing, but what are you seeing out of Josh with limiting those turnovers, and what impresses you the most about him?
Yeah, just becoming a great decision maker. He's been very intentional about it, Catherine, and it's important to him. He knows the value of playing clean football that way and protecting the house, and like I said, very impressed by his decision making to this point.
Hey, Geno Smith has kind of had a resuscitation of his career. He's 34, and he's never played like this the last 3 years, I guess. Can you kind of talk about how you've seen him evolve from what he was to what he is?
Yeah, it's funny because he's been around the league like I have, and we just haven't probably, faced each other a ton. But ton of respect for his game and the way he's just, developed over the years, and the staying power that he's shown, it's very impressive. Again, being out there the last few years, we haven't played them naturally yet, but or over the last couple of years, but very impressed by his level of play, by the way he has command of their offense, and they do a lot of high level, what I would say is high level stuff on offense.
What did you think of his touchdown pass at the end of the first half against Atlanta?
Impressive, very impressive.
Hey, Sean, so
Yeah.
had 3 sacks in the opener, but in the last couple of games, how much has his pressures and hits jumped off the table?
Who? Greg Rousseau. Yeah. I mean, again, it's kind of just goes back to process. I mentioned, I think, the day after the game this past week of you can have a great game and not see the production on the stat sheet, but you still played a great game in terms of your rush, your technique. It's just that sometimes the quarterback gets the ball out, and you can't always control that, right? So, AJ's gotten some production. Maybe I don't even know the numbers. I don't really care about the numbers. It's more like, hey, AJ's gotten some production. Well, is Greg playing at the same level? Even though he didn't see the numbers previous to this week. So, I just think that if you stick with the process, you keep getting better every week. You don't tie yourself to short-term results, and you're able to control and master your mind. They can block out the noise, and then they can keep growing.
What do you see out of Taylor Rapp's preparation and how that allows him to make an impact during games?
Yeah, you said it, the preparation. He prepares as good, if not better, than any safety in the league, and he takes a lot of pride in that, as do our guys. And so I think it stood out to me last year when he wasn't a starter when he came here, and he was kind of a, hey, if Jordan or Mike are out, he'll get his chance. And when he got his chance, he was ready. He made that big play in the division clinching game in Miami, and that's really what he's all about, preparation, and that's what leads to the results.
Sean, the rushing numbers for you guys maybe aren't I think you're 19th in the league right now in rushing, but it seems like that maybe doesn't tell the full story. You feel like you're running the ball maybe a little bit better than those numbers would suggest when you need to?
Yeah. There's always something to work on, right? And if you look at the numbers, sometimes they lead you to, hey, we got to put in some more research on it and look deeper, do a deeper dive. And sometimes you're like, nah, those are sometimes a little saturated with some other things that go into it, right? So, but having said all that, you're always trying to look at things to improve. And I've been very pleased with how we've run the ball. There's been some negative runs that we need to get rid of some of those, or some of them for sure. It's hard to get rid of all of them, Jay, but I've been very happy with the way we've run the football to this point. And then this past week in what I would call a 4-minute drive, I thought we put a heck of a drive together.
How did the complementary styles of your backs help the effectiveness of your running game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like when you rush the passer and you've got different players coming off, they have to prepare for a different style of player, and I think that helps. Ray's a little bit different than Ty, who's a little bit different than James. James is a little bit different than Ray. So I think that those subtle differences, and they're all three of those guys, I give them a lot of credit. Their unselfish approach, their unselfish nature, led by Coach Skipper, has been very good for us.
Totally different coaching staff for Seattle, compared to last year.
Yeah.
Play with somebody you notice, just the change of scenery, or change of direction in that franchise.
Yeah, I think Coach McDonald's done a great job. Very impressed with his with what seems like a new culture and in his way and doing things his way. I wasn't inside the building, but certainly knew and respected Coach Carroll a ton, and in the way that he did things in terms of the culture he built. I think that's one of the things I always really held him in high regard for, is the culture he created and the staying power, to be able to sustain that over the years. And now Mike is in there and seemingly done a great job, and they're off to a great start. They got a good football team, well coached as well.
Sean, when it comes to addressing the slow starts, how much of that is mental, whether it's conversations or reminders? How much of it is physical, where it's changing a game plan or changing a pregame routine, trying to do something?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, there's always something to work on. even when you're winning, there's plenty to work on. So we just got to go back to the process today and get back out there and practice and making sure we're dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and ready to execute.
Sean, Ray Davis has really been kind of a difference maker the last 2 weeks. What did you see from him in preseason and the first couple of weeks of the season to stay prepared and kind of be ready to fill in that spot?
He's just wired that way. I mean, probably because of his background, the way, he's been a winner. I'm sure everyone's aware of his story, and you respect the heck out of it. And what I have found is when you grow up with adversity, those players seem to somewhat have a leg up because they've had to work for things and have had to claw and scratch and every day. And then you get some guys that they're full of talent, but everything's handed to them, and they get here and they don't work out just around the league, right? And so I don't think that's any different than life in general. So if you have worked through adversity, you know how to work through it, and you grind and you put your head down and work, good things will happen eventually. All right, thanks.